beautiful people. Irina Heaver here from sunny Dubai, and we're still at this beautiful DIFC location. I'm here with my dear friend, Dr. Marwan Alzarouni. Welcome, Dr. Marwan, and thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Dr. Marwan, for those very few people who don't know you, they must be living under the rock somewhere. Please introduce yourself and please let us know what is it that you're busy with currently, because you are quite an active member of our very active crypto and blockchain community in the UAE.
Thank you very much, Irina, for the great introduction. We actually do a lot of stuff in the space here in the UAE and also internationally. So internationally, I'm a member of something called the Global Future Councils on Cryptocurrency, which is part of the World Economic Forum. And we try to shape the space of cryptocurrencies to make it more, everyday kind of fact for everyone. Not only people who are, within the cryptocurrency space, but for the normal person and also for the regulators. When it comes to the Dubai focus, I'm actually part of something called the Dubai Future Councils on blockchain. And I play there a different role, which is more around the regulation. So I had something called the Dubai Cryptocurrency Task Force, which actually helps the regulators regulate the space. So we actually look at the laws that are issued and then give them feedback, as well as organize studies around tokenization and the crypto economy in general, and bridge the gap between the regulators and actually the businesses that actually move to the UAE.
So you're the exact correct person to ask a question about the new regulatory innovation that is coming out of Dubai, or maybe even UAE federally. Can you tell us, to the extent you can, and to the extent that the things are not confidential, what is most innovative thing that is coming out from the Dubai regulators? Because we do have a few. And what are you mostly excited about?
I think that right now we're in this foundation phase, which means allowing the technology to actually be regulated, but not a strict regulation, but like a guideline and wireframe kind of structure. That will allow future regulations to come in and regulate things like transactions on the blockchain, smart contracts, tokenization, NFTs, and other technologies that we haven't even talked about here. We need to have some kind of a framework, especially for when it comes to things like know your customer and anti-money laundering. So we need to protect not only the companies that are going to be based out of the UAE, but also the consumer as well. As you know, if you lose your crypto keys in a normal way, you lose your savings. And we have to have some kind of a protection mechanism for both the consumer and companies as well.
And you were one of the very first people in the UAE that moved into the Bitcoin space. And talking about Bitcoin, we started seeing each other all the time at the same meetups and at the same events, and that's how it happens in Dubai. You see each other a few times, and then you become colleagues, then you become friends and good colleagues. So, what made you move into this Bitcoin space? What insight did you get that you thought, okay, Bitcoin makes sense, let me explore that space further? Because none of us come from that space. We somehow ended up there. So the question is, how did you end up in Bitcoin space?
For me, it was through law enforcement. So I worked for Dubai Police as a forensic investigator. And one of the conferences, there was a guy from the UK, and he was showing us how Bitcoin was used on Silk Road. And
when was that?
2012, I think. 2012, and I think in 2013 I really jumped in by doing mining, because I think it took 2 months in 2012 to go over how Bitcoin is generated, which is the process of mining, but I didn't get my head around it. And when I saw the presentation from this guy, I was like, wow, I think this is traceable, and I think Bitcoin can be traced because there's a concept of knowing your transactions. And that's when I really dug deep. And then I realized that this is not only used for illicit activities, but also it can actually be used as both a medium of exchange and also a store of value. And this is cutting the supply in half every 4 years is an amazing idea. And I think it's self-running, self-maintaining, which is amazing. We've never seen this in the history of mankind.
So talking about Bitcoin being a really good asset and a really good store of value, and now we see companies like Tesla putting 1.5 billion of their treasury into Bitcoin. We see MicroStrategy every week. They announce that they've put an additional 10 to 20 million dollars. Do you see mini states or city states like Dubai, Singapore, maybe Malta, maybe Switzerland? Do you see governments putting their government treasury into Bitcoin anytime soon?
I think this is going to become a normal everyday fact eventually, right? We already see the S&P 500 already has Bitcoin in it, not directly, but through Tesla, for example, right now. So we will see these, first of all, the people who will recognize any kind of new technology is usually criminals that take advantage of it. And then the private sector, and then we have the companies like semi-government and government jumping into it. Government is always, by looking at history, is actually always
The
lagging.
last one, yeah.
But criminals usually are the first, and that's why what got me interested in cryptocurrency space was actually its use in Silk Road. But that doesn't mean this is the only use. That means this is the earliest opportunity recognized for the value of Bitcoin. But then the likes of Tesla and MicroStrategy and others have already put them in their treasury, and I think it's only about time for us to see the government moving there.
What I love about our space is that every week there is a new innovation. Every month there is a new concept. So what are you excited about? Is it DeFi project? Is it NFTs? Anything? What do you prefer, or are you excited about both because there's an intersection of all of that? And are you doing any are you doing any work in DeFi projects or NFT projects?
Yes, I don't know if you've seen me in the Future Blockchain Summit, but I am very much into NFTs right now, and I was before that into DeFi. But I think these are only two aspects of how revolutionary this technology is. I think we're still very early in this space, and I think there are much more things that will come in. Once we overcome these scalability issues and other minor things that we have right now within the blockchain space, you're going to see a huge boom in this space. And you're going to see new players coming in, new ideas coming in, not from us, but also from the younger generation.
But is there a particular project you're excited about? Is there a particular project you want to give a shout out to the listeners?
I think one of the projects full disclosure, I actually was one of the private pre-sale investors, was Theta. Theta and micro payments is an amazing space. I think we are underusing it right now. Everyone is paying subscriptions, and this subscription economy is not sustainable. I think if you subscribe to some kind of a video service and you're paying the full amount and you're watching maybe 2 shows a month, and you're paying the same amount of somebody who's does like
60 hours
marathons,
a day.
60 hours a day. So it makes sense to create some kind of economy or economic model where you pay for your content granularly. And even for browsing the internet, like the BAT project, which I'm also a big believer in and also an investor. These kind of micro economy, micro payments kind of projects will actually be the norm in the future. And the concept of money actually will be very gray and very vague. We will know how much money we have, but not an exact number, but we'll know we have enough or not,
So AIBC Summit is coming to Dubai in May, and you're one of the key speakers. You're opening the conference. It's amazing. Can you let people know who are watching us from outside of Dubai, who may never have been to Dubai, why they should come and visit Dubai, why they should come and visit the ABC Summit, why they should bring their families here, establish their businesses here? What makes Dubai a great place to live, work, and play? And I understand you might be slightly biased, like I am. Dubai is my home, and Dubai has been my home for 12 years, but you might be even a little bit more biased than I am. But why is Dubai such a wonderful place? Why do we come and we never leave? Why is such a welcoming place?
I think it's all in the people that live here and the culture that we create here. So as you know, with Bitcoin, you will not really understand it unless you try it. Yeah. It's the same thing with Dubai. You will never appreciate Dubai until you come here, even for one day, even if you're passing by. Once you understand the little things, how people treat you in the hotel, in the airport, passing by, even in a restaurant, talking to somebody on the street, everyone is very friendly, and people are usually not realizing how friendly people are here when they live in Dubai. Like me, for example, this is my norm. I only realize it when I leave Dubai.
Exactly.
For you guys, I think, or anybody who's an expat who comes to Dubai, they're shocked with this huge welcome, wall, and it was like, wow, I can't believe how friendly people are here. And this is, I think, the main attraction.
And it's a safe place. In my 12 years here, I never even thought twice, walking on the street after dark. And now living in Switzerland, for example, I would never run in the forest. I run a lot in the mornings, but I would never run in the forest after dark. I don't know what's in there. In Dubai, if we did have a forest, we have beautiful parks. I never even hesitated a second, and which is very, very important, especially being a woman. It's very important to feel safe and to feel respected. One of the things that I always get asked when I'm speaking internationally, when I'm overseas, is, well, you're a blonde woman, you live in Dubai. Oh my God, you poor thing. It must be so horrible living in the Arab world. And I laugh. And now you're smiling because we know it's a joke. On the contrary, you get so much respect. You get, the separate women queues if you want to have anything done. And there's so much respect from both men and women, expats and locals. I have never felt mistreated or made feel unwelcome even once in 12 years. So that's quite an achievement from the leadership of the UAE for creating such a good, safe, respectful place. We have a minister of tolerance, right?
Yes.
Anywhere else in the world there's a minister of tolerance?
I don't think so. And not only that, I'll tell you a very small story.
Please.
So a friend of mine who was a Western guy, he used to tell me every once in a while, at least once a week, he'll have a nightmare of either losing something on the street or somebody robbing him or somebody. Yeah.
Where?
I'm not gonna say which country.
In his home country. Okay.
Yeah, in his own country. And he says, since I lived in Dubai, I get no nightmares whatsoever, which is an amazing thing. It shows you the state of mind of somebody who lives in Dubai.
And very last question, Dr. Marwan, please. When it comes to coming to Dubai, setting up business in Dubai, what would your few tips be for companies who are looking to relocate here? Because once they come to the AIBC summit, they will see how wonderful and beautiful this place is. I think we'll have to be kicking them out and pulling them out by their ears. And if they want to set up their business here, what would your few tips be how to do that?
I think one of the best tips would be to really choose the right jurisdiction. And I think for crypto, the most friendly jurisdiction right now is DMCC. But other than that, to run their operations very in an agile way. So don't start hiring people straight away. Try to see what projects are there. Try to start, these business and personal relationships here in Dubai, and then start hiring and getting all this, company set up. Start very agile, start very small, but start in the right jurisdiction.
Very good. Thank you very much, Dr. Marwan. And we look forward to seeing you all in May in Dubai.